Okay, welcome. Welcome to Satsang. I didn't know what to talk about today, so I just was in the washroom and I looked in the mirror and I said, Holy Spirit, you give me the subject. Okay, no, the very first page of A Course of Miracles, it says the following. It says, nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. So, I'd like to talk about what is real. You know, if we try to figure it out with the mind and be intellectual about it, or try to think about it, or reach some deduction or reason, we fail. It can't be done. Because what is real does not exist. What is real is not something. What is real cannot be defined. And yet, it is what is real. So it's going to be a very interesting subject. Thank you, Holy Spirit. So it's going to be a very interesting subject, very provocative. And what is unreal, we'll discover that too. So we cannot do it with the mind. We cannot even think about it, because if you think about it, it's about it. It is not it. You see? So what is real? I'm asking you, what is real?
I would say there's a spiritual law that says we should celebrate our losses, because what we lose is not real.
So everything that we lose is not real.
Yeah.
And then when everything is taken away and there's nothing left, the real is always there. So what is the real?
Yeah.
Now some people say it is the now. But everything happens in the now. If you happen to be suffering anxiety, it's happening now. There's nothing but now, in fact. Everything is happening now. You see? So, yes.
What about nature? Is that real?
Nature is an expression of the real. Just like love, okay? Now love is real. But then again, you see, we go back and says, well, what is love? See, when we think of love, we think of its expression. Love making, relationship, loving something or someone. But what is love? Itself. You see? And that is quite something. And what is interesting about this subject, and I'm glad we're starting on it, is because we're all stumped. That is the beginning of wisdom. You see? The beginning of wisdom is when you are stumped and you cannot think. And you cannot reach any conclusion. Because anything that you reach will be limited. It cannot be it. You see? What is interesting about the real is that it cannot be defined. Let me give you an example so that we can talk about it. A mother has a son who's always depressed and unhappy. I'm making it up, but it's a very good example, would be here. Well, one day she sees her son playing ball, and he's having a ball. He's full of energy, and his face is radiant, and there's a glow, and she's so happy. Oh, she's seeing that he's happy. She's happy about it. So she goes over and she says, "Are you having fun, son?" He stops to answer, and all the fun is gone. So what was that magical thing, that thing that made him glow, that made him radiant, that made him happy? You can say playing, but why does playing make it like that?
Well, there was an absence of him. The idea of him just was not there.
Oh,
so just,
that is so beautiful.
He wasn't thinking of himself.
Yeah,
that is correct.
Just the happening is happening.
The real happens when there is nothing there. You look at a child, the child is maybe 1 year old, and they're glowing, and their eyes are large, and their smile steals your heart, that innocence, that beauty, but yet there's nothing there. He's not thinking of a story, he's not doing anything. He's just there, full of joy. You see, so what is there? what is that real thing that now has taken over?
Experience. Is it experience?
Hmm?
Experience?
We can say it's an experience, but it's far more than that.
Energy?
Well, it is energy. You see, we can use different words, but nothing is actually happening. I think Jesse said it very beautifully here, and we can deal with that, is that there is an absence of self. You forget yourself.
Time
You
doesn't
know.
exist.
Yeah. Time, there's no time. There's absolutely no time in that moment. There is a stillness, you see? And so, it's just like you hear a beautiful piece of music, you know, and it's your favorite. And then as soon as you hear it, you just want to dance and you let yourself, you know, do whatever. You see? There's nobody watching, so you can be totally yourself. And at that moment you forget yourself and you become the music. Okay? At that moment, what is there? There's absence of self. You have become that thing that you love, but what is it that filled you with that
Joy?
real, with that joy? Now the word joy is another word that is beautiful, because joy is not an emotion. You see, just like love. See, we think of love as an emotion, but it really isn't. You see? What it is this absence of self. When you fall in love, what happens when you first fall in love?
Oh, your brain gives off.
You feel your heart becomes so full. You see?
You get stupid.
It's very healthy, though.
No, at that moment of being in love, you are filled because you have met someone. Maybe you resonated with him. The vibrations is good. The energy is fantastic. There is that feeling, and at that moment you forget yourself. All you see is that person. But what is actually happening? Are you really loving that person, or are you feeling busting with that love? Yeah.
Well, your idea of falling in love falls away because it's already in front of you, but it's really not her or him. It's that the idea has fallen away, and just that gush of inspiration, of just pure awareness comes in, and then, but we don't know that yet. We think it's her or him.
That's right.
Until that person's gone, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, heartbreak happens. But really, it's our idea of going after that, and so.
That is right. Yeah. So there is that feeling that flowers up, that it's already there. So now, we've talked about that we cannot figure it out, we cannot think about it, we cannot deduce or reason it out, what is real. But we have arrived at some feeling here, is that, oh, we can call it joy, we can call it love, but those are just different words that have no definition, you see, because you feel them, but they're not there. But there is something that we can go on at this point, and it's called aliveness. There's a feeling of aliveness, because there's no one there, there's nothing there. So you're not even body conscious. You just feel alive, you see? So, for the sake of explanation, for the sake of using words, we can say that the real is aliveness. You see? So now we can define all actions of human beings. Everything divided into two. Aliveness and the seeking of aliveness. I'd like your participation here, because if we explore it, we can see it from many different ways. You see, we all want to feel alive, right? Mm-hmm. But, it's because when you're alive, you feel good. You even forget yourself. Did you notice, just bear with me here. You're feeling alive, okay? So you're feeling good. And all of a sudden you become just a little bit self-conscious. Or somebody is looking at you, or or maybe you hear something, someone says something about you. Where is the aliveness gone? It's finished, isn't it? It's gone. It's gone. So now what happens when the aliveness is gone?
Self.
You seek it.
Yeah.
And what happens when you seek it?
It's harder to attain.
Not only is harder
You
to
don't
attain,
attain
something
it.
else happens.
You don't attain it
You don't attain it.
because you're trying.
But you want it.
Seeking it.
Yeah, so what happens when you're seeking it? What happens at that moment?
The self comes back.
Hmm?
The self comes back.
Yeah.
It's just, there's a,
Yeah,
there's-
so we feel sad, depressed, or angry, or upset. You see? We get caught in our own thinking. You see? We don't feel good anymore. When we seek aliveness, the opposite happens. So we can say that aliveness is a light. You're lit up. You know, when a person is alive, you can look into their eyes and the eyes feel alive. But the moment a person is trying to be alive, there is a darkness. And they're heavy in thought. You see? And there's a heaviness about them. And you can see it. You can see it in their walk, in their manner, in their expression, in everything that they do. You can see it is very, very clear. So these are the only two definitions, you see? Because if we study psychology or anything like that, we can come up with so many words, so many different feelings. If you were to number the feelings, one time I did that as a research, you see, and I looked in the dictionary too. And I came up about 300 different feelings. And I wrote a little booklet. It's called How to Attain Freedom. And did I ever send you a copy of that booklet? Anyway,
I have
people
it
really
in
love
plain
it.
sight though.
Anyway, yeah. But I went through all the different feelings that a person can experience. But yet, they're all made up of two. The Course in Miracles calls it love or fear. You see? So in this case, just to use different words, we can call it aliveness or the seeking of aliveness. You see? So let's talk about what happens when we seek aliveness. Can you give me your own personal example or story? Yeah.
Personally, I've gone through many years of this where I'm seeking for it, especially after some kind of meditation, an opening happens, whatever, and then all of a sudden you start. I would long for it, like wow, such a beautiful experience, and then I'm under the impression that I've lost it. If I've lost it, then I have to gain it, and so then we've turned awareness into an object, as if it can be found and it can be grasped in a way, and that creates the journey of
That's right.
like in the seeking and all that. So
That's right.
it's a trouble one.
Yeah. You see, everybody is seeking the real without realizing it. But the moment we realize we're seeking the real, we realize why we have such problems. You see? Because you're seeking that which cannot be found, but only experienced when you're not around. You see the paradox here? See, there was a beautiful statement in A Course in Miracles that really threw me for a loop, and I read it sometime in the 80s, so it's a long time ago. And it said that now listen to this, because this is quite something. All emotional suffering is how did it put it? Is not a negation, but you must know the word.
Denial?
Avoidance.
Hmm?
Denial?
We could use also denial.
Or just making your thoughts real. Emotional suffering.
Yeah, emotional suffering is the fear of getting awakened, spiritually awakened. Okay? So in other words, we fear spiritual awakening. So we become very negative.
Annihilation.
Hmm?
Annihilation? Was that the word?
That could be a word. Yeah, there was a word that the Course in Miracles used, and it escapes me now. But anyway, we're getting the idea is that is that all emotional suffering is really the fear of getting spiritually awakened. Why is that?
Because of the fear of annihilation. That we
Fear
don't
of
exist.
personal
Yeah.
annihilation,
Yes.
isn't it? That's right. Because when you spiritually awaken, you realize that the ego you thought you were, the identity you thought you were, never existed. You see? There is no person. And so therefore, what we do is the following. And I get emails every day, incidentally, in case you didn't know. I get them all the time. And some of the most popular emails are, Burt, I have such negativity, and no matter what I do, it keeps repeating, it keeps coming back all the time. What can I do? And I want to awaken, but it keeps coming. And of course I reply and tell them what I feel they are ready to hear. But the truth is that the reason we suffer negativity is because we're afraid to awaken. Because awakening would mean there is no you. There is only oneness appearing as you. You see? And that is quite something. So that is mankind's greatest fear. But what if we allow it? What if we see that there's never been a personal identity? You see? And you've always been a human being, a being playing the human role. And so, the moment you begin to realize that, a whole new energy takes over, a whole new way of looking. And incidentally, in the course of the first page, it says, nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. This is the peace of God. So peace is the greatest of all. So if you're ever feeling negative and you ask for peace, the negativity will be wiped out. Did you know that? If you really want peace. What is peace? If you play more importance on peace, all the fear that you have will go away. What is peace? When you feel peace, what is that?
The contentment.
All right. Contentment.
Nothing's bothering you.
Nothing is bothering you. No problems, no fears, you're not seeking anything, you're not wanting anything. Nothing. You are nothing. And so you're in joy.
It's also trust as well, like just trusting in
Yes, yes, yes. Well, trust, yes.
Whatever it is.
But you see, the fact that you want peace means you trust that it will be there. You trust that this is more important than anything else. You see?
Don't you lose the fear of death as well then?
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah.
The fear of that will... As a matter of fact, one of the things that leaves you the fastest is the fear of death the moment you realize there is no you. And then, this is the paradox. The moment you realize there is no you, that's when you know you're going to live forever. Because you were never born and you'll never die, but you're always you, because the oneness is you. Like, for example, you know, some people ask me about the now, and I say, yes, the now, the very now, the moment itself is eternal. You see, there is no past, there is no future, just now. And sometimes people write me and they say, yes, Burt, I experienced the now. I entered the now. How is it that they're not getting it when they say that?
You can't enter the now.
You cannot enter the now, you cannot
You're in it.
experience the now. The now is who you are. You see? Yeah. See, we think that the now is something separate from me. I'm going to live in the now. It's absurd. The now is who you are. Yeah.
Isn't it as soon as the thought comes in, then the now is gone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, but only for that moment, because in the next moment, you can, you know, if you keep thinking thoughts that separate you, but the beauty is, it's instant by instant too, right?
Yes.
The holy instant.
Yes. That's why the Course in Miracles calls it the holy instant. Too.
Yes.
You see? But that instant, you see, yeah, you have to feel it out. It's a mind blower. See, the instant is instant, right? But that instant is forever. Because it's timeless. You see, it has nothing to do with the past, which is gone. It has nothing to do with the future, which is not yet. So therefore, the past, which is made up of your name and body and everything, because your body is constantly recycling and changing, you are this now itself, then you realize that you're not living now, you're simply being. You're simply being. Because the word now can be misconstrued as a segment of a parcel of time, you see, but it isn't a parcel of time, it is all there is.
Yes.
You see, timeless. And then you take it one step further and you realize there is no you, there is this. So wherever you are, there you are. Because you are it. You see? So what happens if you are it, if you are this glimpse? What happens to the people around you? If you know you are it.
They become it too.
Yeah, they're not.
Or they learn from you, or they watch you, or they...
Okay, so you say they become it. But there's something else that happens because you are it.
It affects them.
There is nobody around you because
Yeah.
you
There's
realize
nobody
you're
around.
everything.
It's all you.
That is a fact.
Yeah.
It's all you. You see? If you can feel it, it's so beautiful. That's called love. See, right now, I might meet you for the first time, or I've known you for a long time, but you're still my family. You're still parts of me. Did you understand? I see it immediately because there's nothing that's separate. You see, nothing is separate from anything else. It's all... So there are no people, there's just simply different expressions of you. Isn't that beautiful? There's only you. So now, first we say there is no you, right? Okay. Now we begin to understand that you is all there is.
Yes.
Hey, this is wonderful. You're very understanding. Have you been doing this for a while, or?
Yes, I love the Course in Miracles.
Oh,
been
oh,
bathed,
that's great.
yeah.
That's wonderful. Oh, okay. Okay. So you see, this is the dynamic, and this is called the paradox. The moment you disappear, you find. Jesus said, when you lose yourself, you find yourself. You see. So the moment you realize there's no you, you is all you find in everyone you meet. You see? And everything that you see. A few videos back, I gave, it's called a system, it just came to me at one point. I called it Griff. Are you familiar with Griff? I presented it. Griff is made up of 4 words. And many people have written me and they said, Burt, I've used it, but now I know it and I can do it in a few seconds. And I said it's even faster than a few seconds because it is not something you do. There is no doing. It's all about being, and being is a seeing. See, we do not understand with the mind. If you try to understand with the mind what you're hearing now, and you people on the internet watching this, all you end up is confusion. So when a person says, I am confused, I don't understand, rightly so, because you're trying to make sense out of it. You cannot make sense out of truth, out of what is real, because it is not something. It's nothing. You see, we can call it spirit, but these are more words. You see? So what it is, it's a seeing with the inner eye. The heart is open, you are innocent like a babe, and you just listen. And when you listen, you don't judge it, you don't make it wrong or right, you're just open. And at that point something happens, and you resonate. That resonance means that your heart is open to receive, you see, and you're ready. So this word Griff is made up of 4. And The moment you understand it and you see it very clearly, immediately, even if you happen to be negative and you're suffering at the moment, by understanding these four and understanding them with the heart, okay, you shift, you can transform it. Okay, C means choice, R means responsibility, I means imagination, and F means forgiveness. But all four are one. So let me clarify that. Suppose right now you're feeling very anxious and you're suffering. And we know what emotional suffering is. All humans go through it. It's part of what is. So therefore the first word is choice. So what do you do with choice? I am anxious, I'm suffering, you know, I'm terribly afraid, maybe I'm afraid to die, maybe I've got cancer now and I only got a few days to live and I'm terrified. What is the first thing? Choice.
You can choose to change that.
No. The choice
choose
is
to
that
believe
there
it?
is no choice in the matter.
You have to accept it.
Whatever you are feeling is choiceless. You cannot get rid of it. If you're depressed and you try to get rid of your depression, you get more depressed because it's resistance. You see? So the first word is choice. And the choice means, there it is. I am feeling this. You see? And it's there. 2, responsibility. How do you be responsible? It's the easiest and fastest thing there is. First of all, it's not a burden. Responsibility means the ability to respond. There's depression. I am caught. I'm afraid, or whatever it is. That very looking is called responsibility, the ability to respond to what is at the moment. I, imagination. Imagination, now that's a big one. If you ever realize this word, you already begin to feel free as you walk out of this building. Everything is imagination. There isn't anything that you see that is real. The world that we experience as real and very tangible is all made up of mind. Can you think of anything that was not brought on by imagination? Everything is imagination, everything is mind. You see? But beyond mind is the real, and the real cannot be defined. But it is through the real that imagination came about. You see? That's how, you know, mind came into being. The moment of creation, mind, universal mind, you know, brought thought. From thought came everything that we experience now. And then F, forgiveness. Forgiveness no longer is something to do, but to see that there's nothing to do. Because forgiveness, by following the other 3, forgiveness becomes automatic. There's nothing to forgive. So it becomes a reminder. You see? So, now to try to understand all 4, it looks like a tall job. But the moment you can see that there's nothing there, those 4 are nothing. They're not something. They're just words. But it's a seeing. The moment you see that, there's an immediate shift. And the shift can be so beautiful. Let me give you a little true story. What happened? About a year ago, I had surgery in my eye. And they gave me a lens that is for distance seeing. See? And I'm very short-sighted. But anyway, so what happened by having the surgery in my eye? I couldn't read anymore. Even reading glasses did not help. Nothing, you know. And so I went about 6 months unable to read anything. And that to me was a big, big downfall because I love reading. Anyway, but I had to accept it. I had no choice. You see? So anyway, so 6 months went by, and then I realized that now I have to forgive it totally. Because there were moments when you say, oh darn, you know, I'd love to read a good book, I'd love to sit down here and read something, you know. And I go shopping and I cannot see a thing, you know, and people have to help me because I don't see the labels, you know. And so it was a big pain. So one day I figured I'm going to surrender to the Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit, you take it and forgive me for being so caught in my body. Well, 2 days later I went to bed, I slept well, and I had a dream that I was reading. You know how you read, you're reading while you're asleep. The moment I got up, I reached out for the teacher's manual, it was from the Course in Miracles, and I started reading the book. And by the 4th page, I realized, oh my God, I'm reading! I wasn't able to read, and I had tears coming down, I felt so gratitude, and I still can read even small print now. You see, and it happened.
It's a miracle.
So, yes, yeah, the Course in Miracles is about forgiveness, and forgiveness brings miracles. You see, but it happened the moment I said, forgive me for I'm thinking I am just a body. You see? And the moment it happened. Now there were other things happening, similar things. But the power of that is so incredible. Do any of you have any stories you'd like to share? I'd love to hear them. Yeah.
Something kind of similar happened where I had a dream like a month ago, and every time when I sit down, like I have pain in this right knee joint, and this is about a month ago, and I had a dream where you were in it and you were fixing my leg. You were like actually wrapping it up many times, and then it was like a healing process happening, and then the next day I sit down and meditate, and I don't know how it happened, but it's just like I'm like trying to like hurt it and stuff, but it was just like as if it was like a brand, it was.
Was that part in the dream? Was that real?
That was outside of the dream, like just
After you woke up.
Yeah, after I woke up, and I was like just trying to like really like get it in there, and like
that's great.
Yeah. So something similar to that. But not to the extreme. Like.
No, I have nothing to do with that.
You're a healer.
Yeah.
Come in the middle of the night to heal people.
Yeah, see, another interesting thing too, you see, Buddhavana Maharshi had a vision. I had a vision of him many years ago in Toronto. And it changed my life, really. I was a physiotherapist at the time, and all I wanted to do was, I was totally in love with him. I didn't want to do anything but, think about him and meditate and all that. But it was many years later that I realized he never actually appeared to me. It was the Holy Spirit that took that form because I was ready for it.
Yeah.
You see? So this is what is happening too. You see many people say, the Virgin Mary appeared in Lourdes and stuff like that. This is all part, it's true, they do happen, these visions. But they're all what the people are ready for at that particular time. You see? So it's all very beautiful. So if you happen to see me in the dream, it was the Holy Spirit took the form of Burt.
Right.
God in drag.
God in drag.
I have a very mundane example, but I think it's, just like there are no small upsets. I was waiting for the bus, and this is my first time coming. I didn't want to be late, but the bus was not I got one bus, and then I was waiting for the second one. And it was raining and dark, and tons of people at the bus stop. And one bus arrived, but it was jam-packed full, no one could get on. And then another one arrived saying, sorry, out of service. And I noticed how I was getting upset, just slightly, but enough that it disturbed its peace is all or nothing. And so I right away, I noticed how already I was like, translate, that's the trouble with they should respond to the riders and all of that. And then I would just kind of laugh. What I find that I do more often than anything now is just laugh at these thoughts, right? And which disempowers them. But then it came back again, and I felt at peace. And then the longer I had to wait, back it would come again, and I would think, you know, didn't I just say I'm not going there? But about 5 times I had to consciously make the choice that peace was more important to me.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, and I have to keep on repeating it over and over again. Yeah. Yeah. Until it becomes more important than anything else, you see?
Yes.
And you keep that focus. Yeah. Right. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Yeah. Did you ever hear of Nick Carandis?
No.
Okay, the reason I'm mentioning him because he's quite a character. You know, he's a comedian, writer, singer. Anyway, he was also at one time he was a bum, you know, a homeless person. He found the course and his life just changed. And now he's wonderful. Anyway, he wrote a book called. Someone gave it to me as a gift and said, "Here, Burt, this book changed my life." And it's called Let Go and Let God. You know, it's a beautiful, beautiful book, really. Yeah. I'm enjoying listening, though, to you. So, anybody else would like to share a story?
I'd like to just ask about surrender, because it is surrender, isn't it?
Yes.
But if you can't try to surrender.
No, because the ego can't surrender.
No.
You see.
No.
And the part of you that is a being is already surrendered.
Yeah.
So you surrender by not attempting to surrender, but seeing that you're already surrendered in your true nature. You always revert back without control. The key point is that whatever you do, let this energy that is the real itself to do it for you.